we're taking a break because Daniel and I are now in relationships.
Well, yes, but
yeah,
it's not why we're taking a break because I think we can still talk about dating
Yes,
apps.
that's
and,
not right.
Yeah, but yes, you more interestingly though, for the co-host of I Hate Dating Apps podcast, you found someone in a dating app, and it's been going pretty strong now.
What do you know? The dating apps actually worked. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of I Hate Dating Apps. I'm Jinah.
And I'm Daniel.
This isn't just any episode of I Hate Dating Apps, Daniel.
Well, every episode is special, but this one is extra special, though.
Yeah. It's like, you're a special baby, but this one might be more special. Yeah, so we should let our audiences know that we took a little bit of a hiatus, and we thought we'd use this episode to kind of wrap up the reasons why we're taking a little break.
Well, it's been an incredible journey. It's been 2 years.
Over 2 years.
Over 2 years. Yeah. And it started with a very innocent conversation, you and I catching up after months of, not seeing each other, and you're telling me about all of your adventures on dating apps. And then long story short, we said, oh, maybe we got a podcast here.
Yeah.
And so here we are.
Let's just be real. You got super tired of just hearing me ranting and raving about
I need to find an outlet for this.
Yeah,
that's
you're like, I need to get paid for listening to you, Jinah. No, I'm just kidding. But it was fun, and we were talking, and you'd always give me the male perspective on things. So you'd be like, well, let me tell you what the guy was thinking when he said that. Let me tell you what the guy was thinking when he left you at the table. And I'd be like, why are men like this? And so this is how we ended up starting this.
Yeah. But, to be clear, I was not defending men.
I know.
I was just, and also, in defense of men now, like Daniel is not the representative, of all men. So I might have gotten stuff wrong. Not. So I apologize to my brothers out there. I'm sorry if I spoiled anything for you guys out there.
You spoiled absolutely nothing. If anything, I think you demystified some of the things that we women gripe about. I mean, I'm not a representative of all women either. And through the course of our 2.5 years of podcasting, I think one thing that we found out very clearly is that everyone has a very different interpretation of what love is. Everyone has a different interpretation of what is supposed to happen on a date, what is supposed to happen by date number 3, so on and so forth.
So what you're saying is that everybody has their own crazy.
Everybody's a little crazy. Everybody's a little crazy. And, we started this podcast because we were like, I can't believe how fucking crazy people are out there.
Exactly.
And then come to find out just about everybody's crazy.
Including ourselves. It's like,
we're a
crazy
little
is
less
as crazy
crazy.
does.
I feel like we're a little less crazy than everyone else. Let's be real. You and I are very kind of like normal, traditional, very responsible, mature adults in our career, in our family life, in dating life, I feel like. And it's always those really awful, unconscionable, raised by wolves motherfuckers that are out there that are making all the dating app experiences still horrible to this day. And we're not taking a pause from the podcast because we think any problems got solved. Let's be really clear about that. We're taking a break because Daniel and I are now in relationships.
Well, yes, but it's not why we're taking a break because I think we can still talk about dating apps.
Yes, that's not right.
Yeah, but yes, you more interestingly though, for the co-host of I Hate Dating Apps podcast, you found someone in a dating app, and it's been going pretty strong now, right?
Yes, it's been going for a while.
So actually tell us how that, you traitor.
What do you know? The dating apps actually worked.
Yes, it worked. But we'll get into a little bit more of how it worked and why it worked, because all kidding aside, we always say we end our podcast with dating apps. You can love with them and you can love without them. And it's tongue in cheek, but it's true. It's just the reality of how people meet nowadays.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's just a reality. But I think the best that you can do is understand that it's a tool and not a solution.
As
right?
you say
Yeah.
in practically every episode, Daniel, it's
Exactly.
a tool.
It's a tool.
It's up to you how
So-
you use it.
So, Jinah, how did you use this tool? And by the way, which tool was it, if you don't mind saying? Like, what app was it?
It was Hinge.
Hinge. All right.
Believe it or
Yeah.
not. Yeah. People were raving about Hinge. What happened was when I first started this journey in August of 2022, and then we launched this podcast almost exactly a year later,
Right.
after I had every rainbow color of dating app experiences. But when I first started this, I didn't know what I was doing. So I just heard about Bumble and I heard it was for women. So I downloaded that. And, probably didn't make the wisest decision. I did the monthly whatever. And then later on, I got so tired of paying the whatever monthly fee it was. I got a lifetime subscription of Bumble. So
It's always good to get that deal. It's all
I
about
got the deal.
Yeah.
I got the deal because, I'm a gal who likes a deal and likes the value for her money. So I got the lifetime, and that actually kind of prompted me to stay with it, right? And not go to other apps. I did download most of the apps just to say I know about all the apps because we have a podcast called I Hate Dating Apps. I think I should be able to talk about more than Bumble. But I was kind of resisting downloading Hinge.
And Hinge is a little, relatively, it's newer. It's been around shorter than
Yeah,
than
of course,
Bumble
everybody owns everything. I think
Right.
Hinge is also owned by Match Group, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, exactly. After they, became a big conglomerate, they started launching every other kind of app out there. So
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
more recent. So you were on Bumble for how long?
I was on Bumble for, over 2 years.
Exclusively just on Bumble? You didn't try it?
No. Oh, so I was on Bumble, and then I like a year in, I downloaded Tinder, and I did like a 6-month subscription for that. And Tinder.
And you hooked up a lot on Tinder.
I didn't hook up at all practically on Tinder. Apps are evolving all the time. Let's just say
Sure.
Tinder didn't work for me. Tinder was very, like a lot of stereotypes say,
Right.
was very much a place where I felt like people weren't looking for that meaningful
Right.
long-term
It was
relationship.
not Mr. Right, but Mr. Right Now.
It definitely felt like Mr. and Mrs. Right Now kind of a place, just even based on the profile pictures and what I saw on there versus on all the other apps. I saw more naked body parts on
A
Tinder
lot of
than I
cleavages
saw
and a lot
on.
of six packs.
Yeah. I didn't see any cleavage.
Right.
Maybe I did, but
Not the target audience you're going for.
no, I wasn't on that side of Tinder, but the men. I think I showed you. I saw a guy who his profile picture was him as a mermaid, and I was like, is this what I'm getting over here? So yeah, that didn't work so well. I just stopped with that, and then a while back I downloaded Hinge, and within about a month, I had gone on like a couple of dates. Nothing too promising, but what Hinge did, at least in the time that I was on it, it throttled you. It only maxed you out at like 6. So you had to, you could only toggle 6 people. And if you matched with 6 people and you wanted more, you wanted the ability to match with others, at least from me, it said, well, then unmatch with someone.
Got it.
Which is awesome, right? Because the reason why sometimes the apps are a hellhole is because everybody's like, well, I can swipe right on 100 more men tomorrow, or
So instead of giving you a full injection of heroin, it just gives you a little bit at a time.
well, it said if you're gonna keep using heroin, just stop the coke.
Right.
Exactly. I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
Right. Stick with one or the other.
Right.
So
is that a feature of Hinge then?
It was when I was on it. So I'm no longer on it because, I now have a boyfriend. But it throttles you definitely a lot more than Bumble. At one point, I think I said in previous episodes, I had, it was like some crazy number. I think it was, I hope I'm not misthinking this, but I think I had like over 3,000
I think we talked about this
likes
at one point.
on Bumble.
Right.
And then on Tinder, I want to say at one point I had like over 8,000 likes.
Right.
And that is just, that's like the Yellow Pages. I mean, now I'm giving away my age by referencing the Yellow Pages.
Kids, Yellow Pages is this printed book that we used to
Thomas
have.
Guide
Yeah,
is a- no,
and it
just
had
kidding.
all the phone numbers in there.
So it's like this thick, huge book. And you just, all right, let me just delete the app because I can't even deal with that number, right? So I like that feature. It got a little frustrating because I was like, well, this guy might respond. I don't want to unmatch with him, but then I have all these other people, whatever. So
That is, I have a feeling that's exactly how they designed the app to be for
Yeah.
users,
for
to-
people
yeah.
like me who
Yeah.
are like, what are my choices out there? No. So I opened up the app one day. And by the way, at this point, I still had all the apps.
How
I
many
think I
dates
was-
did you go out on Hinge?
I think I
before?
only went on 2 dates with 2
Okay.
different guys.
Okay, so then the third guy was the one.
I think the third guy was Anthony,
okay.
who is my boyfriend, and opened up the app one day. Hinge said most compatible. Hinge gives you like I think most apps do this now, or most apps do this, period, is they give you a most compatible based on your preferences, the parameters that you set, your profile, your education level, blah, blah, blah. It goes, we think this person will be most compatible. So I open it up. And I'm like, oh, hot. Oh, cute. Oh, looks smart.
Check.
28. 28 years old. And without saying how old I am, let's just say there's quite an age gap. And I was like, most compatible. Like, oh my God, my ass. And I was like, I'm not going to go there. And then I said to myself, why aren't you going there? If anything, this podcast has taught me that the more you close the doors, the narrower your parameters are, the more you might be shutting out opportunities during a time and an age where parameters are loosening for everyone. Age, religion, race, sex, gender, all of those are fluid. And I wanted to try to date my age, but wasn't working out for me. So you know what? I just went for it. I was like, fuck this, I'm going to go.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. But this is also points to a bit of a paradox of dating apps in the times we live in, right? Because like you said, you don't want to limit yourself to such a narrow type of people because you might find that compatible partner if you broaden your horizon, your categories. But at the same time, this is the problem with dating apps is that the closing of the parameters is a way to filter because the numbers are so big. Right?
Yes.
So if it's humanly impossible to go through 3,000 profiles, and that's a Jinah problem, it's not a Daniel problem, by the way.
It's a female problem.
So in order to it's just a practical matter. How do you pick someone from the sea of characters and personalities, right? So,
Right.
but to your point, yes, I think age gaps, religion. I hear so many
Location.
People
would be like, oh, I can't date
yeah.
you. I'm in
Right.
Orange County. And
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay. So like Miss, woman of your dreams might live in LA County.
Right.
But you're not going to go for that because you need Miss
Right.
Orange County. Like, you can't imagine how narrow some people go.
So
right?
he must have had a pretty broad, again, not giving away.
He had no parameters.
He had no parameters. There you go.
Yeah,
It's as broad as they come.
Yeah.
Did you have a parameter, or does that matter in Hinge that you, let's say if you say that I only want to meet men of a certain age.
Yeah. I had late 30s to,
Yeah.
I want to say
Then
65. I had a
just out of
pretty broad,
curiosity.
that's like 30 years.
But how did they match you?
I have
if,
no idea.
Wow.
I really don't know.
So Hinge was smarter than you. It's kind of interesting that you went on 2 dates and the third one was Anthony, right?
Yeah. Two different men. Yeah.
Right. And you had been on dating apps for a while before that, on like we said, on Bumble. Like how many dates did you go on in Bumble?
I sound like such a hoe every time I say that.
No.
I think I went on over 80 dates.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
during
again,
the 2+ years
Right.
that I was,
and you and I, when we talked about this on the podcast, most of those were crap. Most of those were horrible experiences. Right?
I'd say 50-50.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. That's not a bad ratio
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
So
But ultimately, you didn't find someone that
ultimately,
that
I
kinda
didn't
stuck around.
find someone. Yeah.
And so then here with with Anthony. Do you think it was because of the app and there was something different about the app, or do you think it was just like finally you found the person?
Well, the app was feeling sorry for me. I think the app was like, wow, this girl is having the worst possible luck. Let's just push the dial for her.
The dating app gods were like,
Yeah.
oh, Jinah's had enough.
Jinah's had enough. Let's throw her a cute boy. I know it's not in her parameter, but let me just,
That's
and so I think also I've heard anecdotally that some people are like, I'm so fed up. I'm going to delete the apps. And just then they push a hot guy your way,
Right. Yeah.
And
They're
you're
listening.
like, oh, maybe I'm not going to delete the apps. And then like you get reeled back in. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
In one of the episodes, I think it was about like using ancient wisdom, like Chinese proverbs in the dating age. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that guest we had said that you should use a different
burner phone
to create it, because these are businesses and they want to keep you engaged. And so if you're fresh meat, they're going to give you fresh meat to keep you enticed. But if you're like, if you've been around and you just keep coming to the same restaurant, it's like, oh, she's a regular. Like you can give her the, you don't have to go out of your way for her. It's like she's going to keep coming back.
It's true.
So, yeah.
It's absolutely true.
There's a way to game the system, I guess, in a way. But you didn't, like you were just persistent, and then you stuck with it, and then you found Anthony.
Yeah.
So what was different about Anthony, and was there anything that the app you think contributed to that, first date or like actually connecting with him?
No, so I think what ultimately happened is, as you like to say, Daniel, it's very much a numbers game. You rifle through all of the bad eggs, all of the dysfunctional, ghosting, raised by wolves. You're not even really human. Why did he do that? People. And then meanwhile, there's another guy out there who's like, oh my God, if I get one more ghosting, unconscionable, not even human chick, I'm going to just, slit my throat. And then at some point, the numbers bring those two people together who are fed up with the same exact thing and who actually do want a meaningful relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. I think you just, there are plenty of guys like that out there. Obviously, there's plenty of women like that out there. It's just, in the funnel of dating apps, you just have so many people you have to go through before it gets narrow enough to where you're like, yes, that's the drop I needed, right? So I think that's just what happened. It just unconventionally happened to be somebody who normally I would never even have really considered.
Right.
So yeah.
I think just like the internet brought all the information available in the universe at our fingertips, and the result of that is that instead of all the entire human population becoming very wise, deep thinking philosophers, we just became doom scrolling, cat video addicted, morons in some ways, right?
Yeah.
But it's I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I think, all these types that we talk about on the podcast, the guys who were raised by wolves and the vapid, superficial women who only want guys who have a lot of money and
who
and
may or
drive
may
nice
not be
cars.
AI.
Yeah. And who's like 6 foot tall and this and this and that. I think those things always existed. It's just that it's amplified because before dating apps, before Instagram, before social media, those people might have existed out there. But you and I, because of the circles because of the worlds that we live in, we might have not run into those people. We might have not even gone on a date with any of those people.
Yeah.
But now everybody's exposed to everybody, and we're realizing that, and it's true in real life too. Think about it, like the people who are actually going to be compatible with you, because you are also imperfect, because you also have foibles, because, somebody might think I am great, and the very next person might think, oh, Daniel's a piece of shit. Like, I don't like hanging out with him.
I think that's a big problem that you hinted at.
Yeah.
And this might transition well to the learnings that we've had in the 2.5 years of doing this podcast. One thing that I've learned is that everybody thinks they're amazing.
Yes.
Everybody thinks, I don't deserve this, right? I deserve better. If I had a dime for every time somebody said, I deserve better, okay, we all deserve better, but we're one of 9 billion people on this planet, or 8 billion, or however many it is.
We all deserve better, but better don't want you.
Yeah, better don't want you. You might think you deserve better. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Our sponsor, Take My Face Off, makes swiping off your makeup just as easy as swiping past a bad profile. Seriously, the Midi from Take My Face Off is this adorable facial mitt that makes skin cleansing faster, easier, and more thorough than any other method I've tried. I seriously love this product. Next time you're tempted to grab a face wipe, use a Midi instead. It's just as fast, but it's better for your skin and the planet. Get free shipping with the discount code DATING at takemyfaceoff.com. Yeah, one of the learnings that I've had is that we all have a very inflated sense of self. Wrongly or rightly, there are some amazing people out there. Every person is amazing and unique in their own way, right? But it's like, well, okay, you're unique, but everybody else is unique too, if you think about it, right? Like you can't be that unique if literally every other person is unique, because there's no two of that person.
Right.
So this sense of like, well, I've got this going for me, I got that going for me, I look this way, makes people go reject, 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 reject. And that just puts us in this spiral that we are in now. That's one of my takeaways from having been a little bit of a deep diver into dating app relationships the past couple of years.
And also, I think there's another element of this too, and we talked about this in some of the episodes, because of things that are happening in society as well, with women becoming a lot more independent, financially independent, not needing a man necessarily. We all need people. I think we all need to be loved, but in that, like in the past, when you needed a partner in order to procreate, in order to build a home, in order to eat. So once those necessities are gone, you have to have a real good reason to be with someone. Which makes it that much harder, right? And then it creates all of these issues. And I think in one of the episodes we talked, and I think it was one of the more popular ones, is the one that I hear a lot of people talk about, where we talk about the 80-20 rule, where a very small percentage of men get all the attention, and a huge percentage of men give a lot of attention to all the women. And so there's this discrepancy. And I think that also creates a lot of this men raised by wolves phenomena that you see. I think because of what's happening, because of, young men nowadays don't feel like they're worth anything, and they become misogynistic, and they think it's the women who are rejecting them, that is a problem, instead of understanding the bigger forces that are making them not feel important. And
that they could spend all that energy ragging on women and turning into incels into themselves,
and
not
getting
just
incels,
better.
even worse actually. The incels are incels, but the ones who turn into like the Andrew Tates of the world, where they think that that's masculinity. I heard Jim Carr, I think, said, Andrew Tate's is a 14-year-old's idea of a man. Right? It's like,
hope not most 14-year-olds.
Well, a lot of them. The world is telling you that it's worthless, and a lot of that message is coming from women when men try to, and because of this discrepancy. And I think dating apps actually make that a lot worse, because it's one thing to go to a dance and get rejected by half a dozen girls.
That's right.
It's another thing to get rejected by 6,000 women on an app, right?
Yep. And we, of course, have examples of people who, over the last couple of years of doing this podcast, go for a year and get one date.
Yeah.
And they do tend to mostly be men. But it happens on the women's side as well.
Yeah.
I get a lot of DMs and text messages where my girlfriends are like, look at this. And it's a meme or some sort of post that amplifies the myth that women buy into, which is there are no good men out there, which is all the men out there suck.
Right.
So better fend for yourselves and get a cat. Right. that is like,
Cats suck too.
no. Oh, we're going to get so much hate now
know.
that you said
Hey,
that. We
Hey,
better edit
publicity
that
is
out.
publicity.
Oh my God.
I'm
Yeah.
here to start a controversy.
I'm allergic to cats, but yeah, love all animals. Yeah, so I think both genders are really quickly, just alarmingly, even in just the past couple of years that we've been talking about this subject, are spiraling into this bottomless pit of negativity and this conclusion that we're better off alone. And in some cases, yes, based on some of my experiences, that might be true. But just as there's always really good women, I refuse to give up on the hope that there's some really good men. And of course, in my case, I actually found one.
You found one. So talking about Anthony, well, we tried to get Anthony to come.
Yeah.
But he's kind of
He's like,
camera shy.
nah.
Yeah. Because he's one of the good ones. He doesn't
Because
need, he doesn't need the attention. Unlike Daniel, who really needs your attention.
Unlike me, who apparently needs attention as well. No, just kidding. What are we saying about ourselves?
so-
No, we're hams. We're former journalists. We're used to this platform. He's not.
So it would be great to have him. It would have been great to have him here, but since we don't have him here, so tell us a little bit more. Like, so at the end of the day, you know, in spite of everything that we're talking about, the dating apps, but it is what it is. It's the times we live in. So you found him. So one of the lessons and one of the takeaway lessons, like, you know, be persistent because that person is out there. Use the dating apps as a tool, right? Be prepared to get a lot of men raised by wolves and
filter through them.
And empty women, empty shells of women. So what else? Is there anything that you can tell folks out there that you either an approach or kind of an outlook that helped you eventually find somebody like Anthony?
Yeah. So I would say if I could boil down my experiences into some pieces of advice, my number one advice would be keep open. Don't filter so much and, you know, get so hyper specific on what you're looking for that you have literally chased out every man that could have potentially been a good match for you. And one of the reasons why I feel like I got lucky was because I didn't do that. And I didn't immediately go, ew, swipe left, right? Which is what we do as a knee-jerk reaction now because we have this constant, unending buffet of people being fed to us.
Right.
So if it looks like a fly might have landed on that piece of food, ew, and what's next, right? Whereas if you're like, you know what? That sushi actually looks amazing. I'm going to go with it. You might find some better luck. So stop being so picky. And it is your right to be picky. You don't have to settle, but there's a difference between settling and being picky. There's always a middle point.
Right.
Try to find that middle point.
I think you need to just reframe it. I think we're so to your point. We're so like, you know, because I'm special and I deserve somebody special. And
I'm
I
so
deserve,
unique.
Right, and I'm unique. And look, you deserve better. You deserve well. Everybody does. Nobody deserves to not be well. Nobody deserves to not find love.
No one
before you
deserves
love
to
it.
settle. That is right.
Yeah, but I think this idea of settling comes from the idea that first of all that we are in some kind of competition. So the men who want to date Jinah in a competition for Jinah. It's like, and you know, shows like The
Wish
Bachelor.
there was a competition for
Right.
Jinah.
Yeah. That's why like shows like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, which kind of, you know, reinforce this idea on people. That's folks, that's entertainment. That's not real life, right? And so the check boxes that we create, she needs to be, you know, this pretty, needs to have this kind of body type, needs to be this age, and you know the same for men that women seek, and dating apps make you sort of fill out those boxes. Doesn't lend to serendipity. Like I have a good friend, actually, childhood friend. She's divorced. And she's been, her current boyfriend, she's been with him for like 3-4 years. And the last time I saw her with a group of friends, and we asked them, like, how did they meet? And she said, you know, I had actually known him. We had common friends and, you know, we'd bump into each other. And I'd known him for a couple of years. But he didn't even, like, get on my radar. I did not think he was, good looking. I thought he was like a dud. And now they can get their hands off each other.
Oh, wow.
Because they got to know
Okay,
each
that's
other, right? Yeah.
unusual.
And she even jokes about it. She even like, she's Argentinian, so she's got that like, and she says among friends like, come on, let's face it. My boyfriend, he's not all that cute. He's not cute. I know it, right? She'll say it, but she's like,
Yeah.
but my God, like he's like, I'm so in love with him. Like
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And I think if you don't open your check boxes, right? It's like 6'2", right? But what if you're Prince Charming 6'1" because of 1 inch?
Well, you know
right?
how I
Yeah.
feel about that. That
Right.
whole height
That's
requirement is
the
such.
height requirement is one stupid
It
one.
is
But
so
I think
annoying.
but I think all of those are kind of stupid if you think about it.
Well, it is. And like, I don't understand how women could go, I need him to be at least 6 feet.
Right.
And in the beginning, when I heard that, I was like, no, women don't really say that, do they?
Yeah, they do.
They fucking do. I have found out that they actually do, and that it is the majority of women who have this height requirement. And yet, by the very same breath, they will say, oh, I can't stand superficiality. I can't stand people who look at the physical. Right. I want them to love me for me.
Right.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Well, are you practicing what you preach? Right. So anyway, all right. So
Anthony's
I've
not
been going on
6'2".
and on. Anthony's not 6'2". That was never my thing. I never needed him to be 6'2", and I never needed anybody to be 6 foot. I went out with a 5'2" guy.
So what made you guys? Obviously, there's a age gap there, which I think we talked about this in one of the episodes. The older man dating younger women has been a thing forever.
Yeah. Well, and now Netflix has come out with Age of Attraction. I don't know
Right.
if you saw that show.
Yeah.
There's like all kinds of shows now devoted to, the age gap and,
Right.
and women being on the flip side
Right.
of that coin.
Exactly. And so the script has been flipped, and you are, one of those examples. But aside
Very
from
much.
aside from the age gap, what is it? What was like? How did he end up being the guy that you're looking for? And in any unexpected way? Because obviously, because the way the dating apps work, and you have to kind of make quick judgments based on photos, and so tell us how did you find this guy in spite of the fact that you found him through dating apps?
So I have to give a little bit of credit to me, not because I was open to the idea of dating a much younger guy, but because he matched with me. When I swiped right on him, he swiped right on me. And then I asked him out.
You asked him out first?
I asked my boyfriend out first.
And what compelled you to ask him out? What was about him that really intrigued you?
It wasn't so much that I asked him out because it just happened to be that way. It was purely out of necessity. I had one free night that week without my son. And that was that night, the same night that I matched with him. So I just went for it. I was like, hey, I'm free tonight. It's kind of hot. You want to go get some ice cream? That's how I phrased it. And he immediately said, I don't have any plans tonight. Let's go. So he responded in kind. We met up. I showed up at the bar. He ended up going, let's just go for drinks, And so met him at the restaurant/bar. And the moment we locked eyes, I was like, that cannot be him. That cannot be him. Like, he looks like Henry Cavill. Okay, he looks like Superman to me. And my jaw just about hit the floor. And I was like, okay, this is going to be fun for tonight. It ain't going anywhere else. Because clearly, first of all, age gap. Secondly, super hot guy.
Okay, so
he clearly can get access to all the women he wants.
So I don't know if this is going to be helpful, but it wasn't like you read his profile or something. It's like, oh my God, this might be the guy. It was more like, well, he's cute. He's really young, but I'm going to give this a shot. So, and then it's like, oh, this is only a free night. Let's go have some ice cream. It was like, and actually that's serendipity though. Like
it is serendipity.
Yeah. So he turned out to be much more than that initial, but there was nothing about his profile or anything that you said, oh, this might be the guy. It was just really like more.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I liked what he wrote.
Right.
There was great grammar. That is a
That's
red
always
flag for
good,
me.
yeah. For
Yeah,
Jinah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that just actually likes great grammar and no spelling errors. And then also, like, he just seemed like a very kind person just from the way that he wrote his profile.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, all the things were pointing to very positive things, but
yeah.
I wasn't like, oh, this hot 28-year-old
Gotcha.
guy,
Right.
definitely my guy, definitely my Mr. Right. No, there was no conclusion like that. It was just kind of like, oh, I have a free night. I better like try to see if this guy wants to go out.
So up until this point, not your relationship post that notwithstanding, up to that point, he was just like, he happened to be a lot younger, but he was just another guy in your string of, slugging your way through dating apps and trying to find that match. He was another guy that you gave a try.
Yes.
And because of the age gap, you didn't give that a whole lot of hope. You thought it was just
I didn't give a whole lot of hope at all. Yeah, I was just like, oh, this might be fun. I'm going to spend Saturday night doing something kind of interesting versus staying at home. That's really the extent of it. And then when I saw him and saw that he was probably a member of the 10 to 20%, right? I was just like, okay, so I'm going to have drinks with this guy. We're going to have a great conversation and then we're going to go. But then it evolved to date number 2. And by the way, one thing that I have to give him credit for, first of all, I'm not with a very young man because he's just hot and arm candy or anything like that. He is actually probably one of the most emotionally mature men I have ever met in my life, including all of my exes, including, family members, like people that I respect. I've never met somebody so emotionally thoughtful, mature, considerate, romantic, intelligent, intuitive, like takes critique, because women tend to be a lot more kind of specific than men, right? We just, we're kind of like, why'd you do the dishes that way? Or, oh my God, can you stop doing that ick? Whereas men, I think, are a lot more forgiving of little quirks that women have, right? Women are like, why do you have that quirk?
We don't notice any of the quirks. We're blinded by the cleavage. So
yeah, you guys are just like,
we just don't
hair,
see it. Yeah.
cleavage, I'm good,
Actually, I should say
So-
this. I've met Anthony a couple of times,
Yes.
but you and I have talked about him.
Yeah.
And I know, you've told me so many stories, and she's telling the truth. I mean, this is not just justification, rationalization of why she's with a hot 28-year-old guy.
Well, he's not 28 anymore, but yeah.
Right. But it wasn't because of that. I mean,
It wasn't.
When you're talking about emotional maturity and stuff,
You've seen it for yourself.
Yeah, I've seen it for myself. And he's one of those young people with old souls. Like you always meet them.
Old soul.
Yeah, he's an old soul.
Yes.
Like he was probably 40 when he was born.
So that would make him
Very
about,
mature.
yeah, 70
very mature.
at this point.
Yeah, I've had conversation with him, and obviously I'm a lot older than him too. And I could totally relate. I could see him. I could see carrying on conversation with him. I didn't feel like we lived in two different universes. So no,
Yeah,
for sure.
so to that point, this really shows you what kind of a guy he is. After the first date, I drive home, he gives me a very, very light, polite, gentlemanly kiss at the end of the date. And when he did, he said, how do you feel about a kiss? So that's very impressive, right? How he phrased that question, very gentlemanly. I've literally had people walk me to my car and like basically the moment I turn around, they've stuck their tongue down my throat. So I've experienced the gamut of like,
Okay.
yeah.
I have this is the reason why, and I know it's not a defense because we should all be able to think for ourselves, and so I'm not saying using this as an excuse, but I can totally understand like why men might be confused, because I had this like when I was dating way back when and using dating apps. I had gone out on a date with this woman, and it was our first date. And it was like coffee led to dinner, and we had dinner, and then I walked her to her car, and as we're waiting to get into her car, she kissed me.
I've done that.
Tongue.
Oh.
No, yeah, like it was like, and we just barely, met. And so I went out with her a couple more times, but it didn't go anywhere. But I was like, oh, I guess this is what they do these days.
I have a lot of things I could say about
Yeah, but-
about that, such as, have you considered asking whether you could stick somebody?
But you know what? But then you run into women who say, "Oh, like a man takes command. You don't.
Why aren't you taking
Yeah,
charge?
exactly. But again,
not with physical
everybody. This is why it's so difficult because everybody has like
different expectations.
different expectations. They live in like and so again with dating apps, you get exposed to people outside of sort of what your norms are because you live in this tribe here, but now you're exposed to people in that tribe, and some of the people in that tribe look attractive to you, but they are governed by different rules.
Well, yeah,
Right?
and your outrage is someone else's normal.
Exactly. yeah.
Right?
So, but then you meet this guy Anthony. So you go on
The
a
first
date
date,
with him,
I'm
ice cream.
thinking this is going to be a fun night, and that's the end of him. I'm not going to see this guy ever again, right? And I was cool with that. I was like, all right, just another fun Saturday night, whatever. And then when it led to a very gentlemanly kiss, I was surprised. And then when I got home, he had texted me and said, I had such a wonderful time. I'd love to see you again, right? That same night. And I was like, what's up with this guy? What's up with this young, hot guy? Okay. Like, okay, he's got to be weird. I mean, your mind just goes there, right? You're like, okay, there's got to be something seriously wrong with this guy.
Right. And a lot of women would have dismissed him right there and then because you're not supposed to follow up like right away after the first date. Like you
Ooh,
look desperate
I mean,
or you
that's-
seem desperate or.
If you feel like a guy who follows up with you the night of a wonderful date is something wrong with him, then that's a you problem. That's not a him problem.
No, 100%.
That's a you problem.
100%.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is there are women like that. And there are.
Well, yeah, but that's-
And there are people who advise you advise men
To
and women.
seem desperate.
Yeah,
right,
don't,
right.
Don't look desperate. Don't ever do
But
that.
this
It's
is
like,
why it worked, because I function like Anthony. I function based on courtesy
There you go.
and follow through and feedback and feelings and acting on feelings. Like I had a wonderful date. You would never play such games with your family. You would
Right.
never play such games with your children. You would never play such games with your significant other. Why are you playing these fucking games with everyone else? Right? That's the problem. Stop playing the fucking games.
So you found somebody who lives in the same planet as you.
Wow. Somebody who like believes in common courtesy. Somebody who,
Was not
after you
raised by
get home.
wolves.
Yeah, who's not raised by wolves, who's raised by humans and actually wants to check to make sure you got home safely.
There you go.
Right? Like that's what told me initially that he was a different breed. Or not a different breed, but a human breed, I guess, not an animal like so many people end up being. And then so that led to date number 2. And then same thing after date number 2, like very gentlemanly kiss, walked me to my car, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Date number 3. And then like by date number 6, we were still just kind of like, going out, having dinner, like following the formula. And so I was like, what's up, bro? Like, are you like, how are you feeling at this point? Let me just do a check-in. There's clearly a very big age gap. There's clearly a huge amount of generational, right? Like music preferences, all the things, differences.
What did he say about
between
the age
us.
gap?
He said, because, I mean, in the very first chat with him, he and I both pointed it out. He was just like, well, so there's this age gap, and he said, I actually like older women. He said, I've mostly been dating older women. So I'm like, okay. I mean, like, I'm on the extreme end of that, but I just took him at his word. And that's the other thing that I think women do is they tell stories in their head about what somebody actually means. And of course it's because we've been burned.
By the way, that's not just women. I think all of us. do
Yeah,
that,
and men are like, yeah, sure, she thinks that, I know that, but sometimes it pays to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes it pays to actually believe somebody when they tell you something. So that's what I did. I just went with it. And then by date 6, I was like, well, I mean, I just want you to know that I'm either going to start dating other people unless you think that this is going to go anywhere. And that night he was like, I want to be exclusive. Wow. So 6 dates in, like we just kind of went to exclusivity. And that's the other thing is, a lot of dating app dates or just God, relationships in general, right? There's so many people that you and I know where like they're 13 years into a relationship and you still don't know whether they're monogamous, or there's a lot of people who like just kind of like sit on the pot and never take a shit. And he wasn't one of those because I'm not one of those. So I wasn't giving him any kind of ultimatum. I actually was kind of thinking, I'm just going to let you go and let me be on my merry way to date other people because I'm paying for 3 apps at this point, No, just kidding. I got to get my value out of these apps. So I was kind of indicating, are you going to date other people? Am I going to date other people? And then he's just like, no, I'm good with getting exclusive. And I was like, whoa. And then so like 3 months into that, I'm like, oh, if it ends now, like I'll still be cool. I'll be all right. I'll still be able to tell my grandkids when your grandma was, in mid-age, she was dating some hot, 20-something-year-old. I'll still have a fun story to tell. So I'm not losing out here, right? But then now it's been over a year and it's not showing any signs of winding down. So, in fact, we're stronger than ever against all odds.
That's great.
So I think I'm walking proof that if you take a chance on something and everything feels right, but you're telling yourself some story of why there needs to be a wall, maybe that's your story.
100%. I think that becomes harder and harder, though, right? In modern times, just because of all the societal pressures and
Well, I would submit that it's easier and easier in modern times to think that way. It was harder 20 years ago for that age gap, right? So it's
Oh, no. What I mean is the way it worked for you, right? To be persistent, to give people the benefit of the doubt, to be patient, right? All these virtues that we've been told.
virtuous.
Yeah, I mean, for reals, I think all the virtues that we've been taught. To me, it feels like nowadays, like a lot of those lessons are lost. Giving people the benefit of the doubt, seeing the whole person,
Giving people a second and third chance.
Yeah, and also seeing the whole person instead of just seeing the stats on the person,
stats.
right? What kind of car he drives, I mean, there's a reason why there is a section of women in this society, the term Mar-a-Lago women, like you've heard of Mar-a-Lago women?
No.
So not to get political, but
but you're getting political.
Yeah, no, but I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about a specific look that people talk about, and it's very prevalent in high society Florida, like the country club set, the yacht set, especially the women who are attractive, but attractive in a very specific way. It's attractive because it's very clear the amount of money that has been invested into that beauty, be it plastic surgery, be it the kind of treatment, right?
Right.
And it reeks a little bit of desperation, and it's because everybody is trying to conform because there are this set of statistics that everybody's trying to match, because that's what gives you value in society. And ultimately, to the point of this podcast, which is about relationships and dating apps, that transfers into that too. And we, men, women, and we're talking mostly about heterosexual relationships here, but I think it's true across the board that when you're trying to attract a partner, that you have to bring a certain number of elements to the table. And then people parse through those elements and say, oh, this tall, this kind of car you drive, or this and this and
this
that.
This education level,
right.
You have to have a house.
Exactly. Yeah. Instead of just like meeting the person and then and then getting to know the person. And in order to do that in this real world, is what I'm saying is what you did, which was persistence, patience, giving people the benefit of the doubt, not shutting yourself off to some preconceived ideas of what's proper and not, right? Give it a chance. But I think it's harder to give it a chance nowadays because society keeps telling you that
You
if
deserve better.
you deserve better. Not only that, but if you do this, you're a loser. If you don't do this, you're a loser.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's contradictory. It's like you're a loser if you do this. You're a loser if you put your tongue down a woman's throat on a first date. Or you're a loser if you are too timid not to try and do that. Like you're a man if you try to do that. No, you're a jerk if you try to do that. So instead of trying to like ascribe to all of this freaking
What's
check boxes,
supposed to be.
what's supposed to be, keep an open mind.
Yes.
Use the dating apps as a tool and give it a chance. Give people a chance. All I am saying is give people a chance.
Yeah, give love a chance. So I want to turn the tables and ask you
Oh boy.
about your status and also about the things that you've learned over the past 2.5 years.
So I have been in long-term relationships, and the last one prior to the relationship I'm in now was through someone I met through a dating app.
Match, yeah.
Match. It was Match at the time. But the relationship I'm in now, which is going strong after 2+ years, was somebody who I'd met a long time ago. And we dated briefly, but then we went our separate ways. And then somehow, we found ourselves in the same city again. Like, actually, I've been in LA this whole time, but she had moved, out of LA. And she came back to LA, and that's how we kind of when we met. I honestly wasn't thinking that it might lead into dating or anything. Although in the back of your mind, you're always thinking that. Like, obviously, I was, I find her incredibly attractive, and obviously, when we dated in the past, there was at least some physical attraction. I just didn't think there was a long-term future back then for reasons now I forget. But we've been together for 2 years. And it's making me rethink a lot about compatibility and what relationships are really about. And one thing that I really, and maybe it's just me, but I think I bought too much into romantic ideas, like we Romeo and Juliet and all the freaking Nora Ephron movies.
Rom-coms.
You've got the rom-coms. You got Mail and When Harry Met Sally, when Harry Met Sally, great, but the movie ends after, Harry gets Sally. We don't see if they're still married, 10, 20 years later.
Wait, don't they get interviewed as an old couple?
No, they get interviewed. They interview a bunch of old couples, like how they met and stuff. Then Harry and Sally, at the end of the movie, they talk about how they met.
But they're still a younger couple.
But they're still they physically it's not like
aged.
50, 60
Oh,
years later.
okay.
It's like,
I
it's
guess
just recently after.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
But regardless, every rom-com is like every love stories, and they lived happily ever after, and nobody verifies. It's like I want receipts on that. Like I really want to check if they lived happily ever after. And real life, I saw this in other movies. Like every movie is like, oh, love isn't supposed to be this hard. Like, when they show like two couples breaking up, it's like the guy or the woman's like, love, I don't think love is supposed to be this hard. Or I love you, I'm just not in love with you. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I love you, but I'm like, isn't love ultimately love? Like, don't you want to grow old with somebody you love? And I think I am at a very late stage in my life, at middle age, trying to rewire my brain as to what love really means. And I don't regret any of the romantic relationships that I've had in the past. They are self-contained love stories in and of themselves, and they're all, part of, what made me who I am. But in terms of successful relationship, successful partnerships in a sort of romantic relationship point, I think I'm starting to gravitate more toward this idea of it's about work, it's about persistence, it's about love is not supposed to be easy. It's like you're supposed to put some fucking time and work into it.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what I'm at. I'm working at it. I loved what we did over the last 40 some episodes. These were all very interesting subjects. We had some great guests. I still remember it was one of the first few episodes, and this is kind of comically sad. But who was that guest we had? Was this young man, and he was having like no luck with women.
Kayvon.
Kayvon, poor Kayvon. If you're hearing this, I hope you have found love.
Ooh,
But
yeah.
I remember Kayvon saying that he had met somebody on dating apps, and this woman had told him, quote unquote woman who like he never actually met her physically, so we even don't even know if this person actually exists, told him that it was her birthday. I should remember this the
Right.
anecdote.
Yeah, that was
and
an
then
amazing story.
and he's like, can you send me a gift card? And he sends her a gift card, and then she ghosts him, and he is perplexed.
And he drives 2 hours.
And he drives 2 hours down to San Diego and knocks on the door, and nobody lives there, nobody's there. And then he goes and checks into a motel and comes back the next day and can't find this woman. And the thing that stayed with me was, as we're talking to Kayvon, a couple of things. Like he's very naive, but naive is also, like, I think it's because he's also so innocent. He just like he
Yes,
doesn't he thinks
yes.
like, who would do this?
And he's just an eternal hopeful,
Right, hopeful
optimist.
person, and that's why it's kind of sad. But it also goes to show, like what I was saying earlier, is like everybody's exposed to everybody now because of dating apps, because of social media. Things that you and I the types of people that you and I might never run into. Like you might have gone your entire life without ever seeing a dick pic if we lived 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Because first of all, it'll take a long time to take a dick pic with one of those old cameras. Can you imagine how long? Like, and you could start a fire on your pubic hair, so that would not be good.
Secondly, I wouldn't have gotten a dick pic, but I would have probably been beaten up by my drunk husband.
Right, exactly,
if I
yeah.
didn't feed my 12 children. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I think we live in very perplexing times, and things are changing very, very quickly. So I think it's to everybody's benefit to take a pause, understand what these things are doing to you, the dating apps and all the check boxes, and then really focus on exactly what it is that you're looking for.
Your advice wouldn't be go out there and try to meet somebody in real life, like ask that girl out at Target.
Oh yeah, no, I would actually,
okay.
yeah, because I think that actually, in many ways, eliminates some of the traps of dating apps, right? All the things that we talk about dating apps, the reason why they're bad, you eliminate all of those. But the flip side of it is, as we say often, dating apps is a numbers game. But understand that it's a numbers game. When you get rejected 6,000 times, is because you're not now all of a sudden 6,000 times more of a loser than you were yesterday. It's just that you took this tool that functions that way. The dating apps is either distorting or amplifying whatever it does, but it's not reality, right? So if you want to go and meet people in real life, go meet people in real life. That might be even better.
My guy ended up being real.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess the flip side of what you're saying is also, if this tool is misfiring for you 6,000 times, maybe it's time to try something different. Maybe you need to throw this tool away. If you've been on dating apps for so long and it's just really never worked for you,
right.
I don't know. Maybe the message is that tool's not working for you.
As the saying goes, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right?
Yeah.
Now, in what you're saying, yes, if you're using the dating apps and it's just, hitting you over the head and just fucking kicking your ass 6,000 times a year, well, one of two things. Either stop using dating apps, or maybe you're using them wrong. Mm-hmm. Right?
Maybe you need to change your perspective.
Maybe you need to change your perspective. So maybe you should be okay with 6,000. And then maybe your 6,001 person is going to be the person. So don't beat yourself over the head. Don't think all women are trash now because 6,000 women on some fucking app rejected you, and now you think every woman is a vapid, superficial. Not every woman is looking for a 6'2" guy who drives a Ferrari. That's a stereotype. That's a gross stereotype.
Stay away from stereotypes. That's for sure.
But those people exist. So that's what confused me. So, but Daniel, I see women like that all the time. It's like, yes, you see them all the time because they live in Instagram and they live in TikTok and they live in
And
fucking
you
dating
you
apps.
swiping on those asses.
And you swiping on
Stop
them.
swiping
because
on
they
fake
are-
ass people.
Yeah, because they look very hot, so you swipe on them, and then of course they reject you, and then now you're
Yeah.
pissed at the world
You're like,
because it
God,
worked
why
exactly
isn't this
the way it was
Instagram
supposed
model
to.
swiping right on me?
Exactly.
And not to not swipe right on Instagram models, right? Like I swiped right on a very young, super hot guy. But you're right. Just pivot, do something different, whether it's changing up your photos, whether it's taking a break, whether it's checking to see if you have spelling errors on your profile,
Or changing your perspective.
checking your perspective, going out and asking a cute girl at Target out, whatever, going out to more in-person events, having a fun time, because that fun time, as so many guests on this podcast have told us, that fun time translates to you being a fun person. And the next time you bring your game to the table, somebody's going to notice. So yeah, all these lessons. But I think if we could distill down the lessons to what you and I have just kind of been banging over the head during this maybe final episode of I Hate Dating Apps, it would be keep your mind open.
Keep your mind open.
I think don't close off your options. Be open to all the possibilities. Love might be out there in a form that you were least expecting it. So if you keep it open and just go to every date, like with it, it's a curious discovery, time, then I think you would certainly have a lot better luck than the
100%,
opposite of
yeah.
that.
I think, look, we live in very weird times, and none of
You
the-
love going to that.
Yeah.
You're like, we live in this
We
time.
do. I mean,
Modern times.
Yeah, and I think that can't be overstated because the amount of technology and how it's evolving. So like the agricultural revolution took thousands of years. The industrial revolution took hundreds of years. The information age is only taking decades, and now AI is going to be every year is going to be something different. So
Oh, yeah.
change is coming fast, right? But that's the world, and I think when I say change the perspective, so it's not so much accept the world as it is. It's just a fact. The world is what it is, and so you're not going to change the world necessarily. So instead of maybe raging against the machine, instead of
Yes.
like hating on the dating apps and hating on women or hating on men or hating on men who are raised by wolves and all
No,
of
you
that,
can hate on men who are raised by wolves. I give you permission.
ultimately what it boils down to is like instead of like sort of directing all of your energy to like why is this way, why is this so fucked up, why is that so fucked up, are women so fucked up, are men are so fucked up, dude, just look inward. Do it and do that.
Do
Just
what
look inward.
you can.
Do what you can and
Help yourself.
yes. And get there the best you can get there, because there is a way. I don't know if that will be a recipe for success, because there's no success is guaranteed in life, but I do know this for sure, that with the current way we're going about it, where you're raging against everything and things that you can control, that's definitely not going to land you in the promised land, right?
Yeah.
So,
And we're clearly subject matter experts on this because our lives have been going so well. No, I mean, everything that we just said right now, just take with a grain of salt, because obviously we have all struggled in the past. I didn't mean for this to turn into let me tell you what Jinah thinks about what you should do. But all we want to say is thank you for hanging with us.
it was fun.
It was really a fun ride. And lo and behold, I still fucking hate dating apps, but somehow it worked for me. And this is not a goodbye. This is a see you later.
Yep. Well, you can't say you completely hate dating apps, because what we say, dating apps,
You can't love with them.
and you can't love without them.
We will see you again. Thank you very much.
I hate dating apps.
Hey, app daters and haters, tell us your dating app experience, and we just might bring you on as a guest for future episodes. Head to IHateDatingApps.com and click on the big yellow Tell Us Your Story button. You can't miss it. We've got a lot of fun content on our social channels, so please follow us at I Hate Dating Apps on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. And on Instagram, we're at I Hate Dating Apps Pod. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast.